My beloved child, there is something I need you to hear before you let this moment pass, because what you are about to understand may change the way you see every quiet moment, every unanswered feeling, and every time your heart suddenly remembers someone you deeply love. Do not skip this. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and it may be closer to your heart than you ever imagined. Have you ever noticed how one person can be absent from your sight and yet somehow become present in almost everything around you? A familiar song suddenly feels different. A quiet evening suddenly feels louder. A simple memory appears without warning, and for a few seconds, you are no longer completely inside the room you are standing in. You are somewhere else, somewhere inside a moment that once made you feel understood, safe, valued, or simply loved. That is when you discover something powerful. Sometimes you do not understand the depth of your love while someone is right beside you. Sometimes you only recognize its size when their absence creates an empty space you cannot easily explain. And if you have been missing someone so deeply that even ordinary moments seem to carry their name, listen carefully, because this feeling may be telling you something important. Do not skip, because the next part may reveal why your heart keeps returning to the same person even when you try to focus on everything else. There are moments when the mind says, "Move forward," while the heart quietly says, "Wait." There are moments when you tell yourself that you are fine, that you have accepted the distance, that you have become stronger, and then one tiny reminder brings everything back. Not because you are weak. Not because you are unable to move on. But because some connections leave an impression deeper than words can describe. You may have tried to distract yourself. You may have filled your days with responsibilities, conversations, work, entertainment, and countless little things, yet when the world becomes quiet, the truth becomes louder. You miss them. And perhaps what surprises you most is not simply that you miss their presence. It is that you miss the little things you once took for granted. Their voice. Their way of saying your name. The way a conversation could make an ordinary day feel meaningful. The feeling that somewhere in this enormous world, there was one person whose presence made everything seem a little lighter. That realization can be overwhelming, because suddenly you understand that your love was never only about grand moments. It was hidden inside the smallest details. It was in the questions you asked without thinking. It was in the memories you protected. It was in the moments you wished could last 5 minutes longer. It was in the silence that felt comfortable because you did not need to explain yourself. And now, when that person is not there, those tiny details become enormous. This is why missing someone can feel so intense. You are not only missing a person. You are missing a world that existed when that person was part of your everyday life. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and before this message is over, you may understand why your heart has been holding on to this feeling so tightly. There is a deeper truth hidden inside longing, and once you see it, you may never look at your memories the same way again. Perhaps you thought missing someone was simply sadness. Perhaps you thought it was weakness. Perhaps you believed that if you truly loved someone, you would never feel so unsettled by their absence. But sometimes missing someone is actually evidence of how deeply their presence touched your life. It is the heart remembering what mattered. It is the emotional echo of moments that were important enough to leave a permanent impression. Think about that for a second. There are millions of people in this world, yet not everyone can make you stop in the middle of an ordinary day and remember a specific smile. Not everyone can turn a familiar place into a memory. Not everyone can make a simple phrase remain in your mind long after the conversation has ended. When someone has that kind of impact, their absence can become strangely powerful. You begin noticing all the places where they used to exist in your routine. You reach for your phone almost automatically. You remember something you would have told them. You see something funny and instinctively imagine their reaction. You experience something beautiful and wish they were there to see it. These moments may feel painful, but they also reveal something extraordinary. Your love was woven into your life more deeply than you realized. And perhaps that is why the silence feels so different now. It is not empty silence. It is filled with memories. It is filled with words that were never finished, moments that were never fully appreciated, and feelings that you may have understood only after distance gave you enough space to see them clearly. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the revelation is not simply about missing someone. It is about what your heart discovers about itself when the person you love is no longer within reach. Because sometimes the person you miss becomes a mirror. They show you what you value. They reveal what makes you feel alive. They expose the parts of your heart you usually keep hidden. And perhaps the greatest surprise is this. You may think you are only longing for them, but somewhere beneath that longing, you are also discovering the kind of love you are capable of giving. You are discovering patience. You are discovering tenderness. You are discovering how deeply a memory can matter. You are discovering that love is not measured only by how loudly you speak about someone when they are present. Sometimes love reveals itself through the quiet ache you feel when they are absent. Sometimes love is the sentence you never said. Sometimes it is the message you typed but never sent. Sometimes it is the photograph you looked at for a few extra seconds. Sometimes it is the place you avoid because it reminds you too strongly of them. Sometimes it is simply sitting alone and wondering whether they ever think about you too. And if you have ever experienced that, then you already understand something most people discover much later. Love can remain present even when circumstances change. Time can move forward, days can become weeks, and life can continue, but certain feelings do not disappear simply because the calendar changes. They transform. They become quieter. They become deeper. They become memories that unexpectedly return when you least expect them. And when they return, they remind you of who you were, who they were, and what that connection meant to you. Here is where the story becomes even more powerful. Sometimes you do not miss the person exactly as they are today. You miss the version of them that existed in a particular chapter of your life. You miss the way you felt when you were around them. You miss the hope you carried. You miss the excitement of seeing their name appear. You miss the certainty that someone understood a part of you. And realizing this does not make your love less real. It makes it more honest. Because genuine love is not always about possessing a person or keeping them close every second. Sometimes it is about recognizing the impact they had on your heart and allowing that truth to exist without pretending it never happened. Do not skip, because there is another layer to this that most people never talk about. The strongest realization often arrives when you stop asking, "Why do I miss them so much?" and begin asking, "What did their presence awaken inside me?" That question changes everything. Maybe they awakened your ability to trust. Maybe they made you believe in yourself again. Maybe they showed you that you deserved kindness. Maybe they gave you memories that still bring warmth to your hardest days. Maybe they simply arrived during a chapter when you desperately needed someone to remind you that you were not alone. Whatever the reason, their presence left something behind. And perhaps that is why their absence feels so noticeable. You are not only remembering them. You are remembering the person you became when they were part of your life. Think about the first moment you realized you truly cared. Maybe it was not dramatic. Maybe there was no music, no perfect sentence, no extraordinary event. Maybe it happened quietly. You noticed that their happiness mattered to you. You noticed that their sadness affected you. You noticed that you wanted to hear about their day, even when there was nothing particularly exciting to discuss. You wanted to know whether they were okay. You remembered details they thought you had forgotten. You began imagining future conversations without even realizing it. That is often how love enters our lives. Not like a thunderstorm, but like sunlight gradually filling a room. At first, you barely notice it. Then one day you look around and realize everything is brighter because of it. And when that light is no longer there, you suddenly understand how much you had grown accustomed to its warmth. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because the truth about missing someone is not that it proves you cannot live without them. The deeper truth is that it proves they mattered. And there is a profound difference between those two things. You can continue living. You can continue growing. You can continue becoming stronger, wiser, and more complete. But you can also admit that someone mattered to you. You can admit that their absence hurts. You can admit that you still care. You can acknowledge the memories without allowing them to control your future. That is not weakness. That is emotional honesty. Perhaps you have been